Welcome back to Movies TV Mad and Sunday's edition of the Movies TV Mad Daily. Remember, you can follow me on Twitter at Movies TV Mad, Instagram and TikTok at Movies TV Mad 555. Yes, Ben Affleck is ready for the Flash movie. So reports Heroic Hollywood. Ben Affleck back in Batman shape ahead of the DCEU return in The Flash. You'll just love to see it, and we absolutely would. So let's give this a read. Ben Affleck is back in impressive Batman shape ahead of his return to the DCEU in The Flash. After the release of Justice League in 2017, as well as his official departure from directing, co-writing and starring in the Batman, it looked like Ben Affleck would be saying goodbye to his role, Bruce Wayne, in the DCEU for good. However, fans were taken by surprise when it was announced that he would be reprising his role in Andy Muschietta's The Flash alongside Ezra Miller. Recent photos of the Academy Award winner has surfaced, the web showcasing a welcome return back to his incredible physique as the Caped Crusader in the DCEU. You can check out these photos down below, courtesy of the Daily Mail. Ben Affleck's Batman will continue to serve as mentor to Ezra Miller's The Flash, as previously established in Justice League and further explored in the Snyder Cut earlier this year. The character is also said to be substantial to the emotional impact of the film, given his relationship to the titular Scarlet Speedster. Are you excited to see Ben Affleck play Batman again? Absolutely. And we can discuss that. Because it is very, very exciting. Now, nobody really knows his role in this movie. What kind of role is he playing in Andy Muschietta's Flash movie? Is it a situation where we're looking at just Bruce Wayne? Is it Bruce Wayne and Batman? Will we see him in the costume? Well, considering the shape he's in, he should be playing Bruce Wayne and Batman. But what's really interesting for me is how much screen time he's actually going to get. And, you know, for me, we've heard that he actually rewrote what Christina Hodgson wrote for his character in this movie. Some citing that he actually rewrote the entire movie. I'm not sure about that, but that's very interesting to me as well. And also, wouldn't he have already shot his part of this movie? It doesn't actually look like it. So that's interesting, because they've nearly finished shooting this movie, so surely, really, shouldn't he have already shot his bit? Nobody really knows, but he's in great shape, and that's really, really exciting. James Gunn reveals 13 other DC villains considered for the Suicide Squad. The Suicide Squad director James Gunn revealed 13 other DC villains he considered, including in the movie, including Deathstroke and Man-Bat. Now, Man-Bat would have been awesome because we've never seen him in live action, by Cooper Hood of Screen Rant. James Gunn revealed 13 other DC characters he considered for the Suicide Squad, including Deathstroke, during the time when Gunn was fired from Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Warner Bros. And DC Films called the filmmaker to bring him into the DC Extended Universe. He had his choice of projects and decided that a new Suicide Squad movie fit him the best. Gunn is taking the franchise in a fresh direction after the poor reception to the 2016 movie. The Suicide Squad features a mostly new collection of obscure DC villains risking their lives to save the world and reduce their prison sentences. The cast includes Margot Robbie returning as Harley Quinn from the first film, as well as Jay Courtney as Captain Boomerang, Joel Kinnaman as Rick Flag, and Viola Davis as Amanda Waller. That's actually 4 cast members from David Ayer's original movie. Gunn scoured DC's comic history to find other obscure villains to pair with these characters. His final lineup is headlined by Idris Elba's Bloodsport and John Cena's Peacemaker, but it also includes the likes of Polka Dot Man, King Shark, Ratcatcher 2, Javelin, Soul Survivor, Savant, TDK, Mongol, Blackguard, Weasel, and The Thinker. The large cast of characters is why the Suicide Squad is expected to feature multiple Task Force X teams and plenty of casualties. The collection of DC villains in the Suicide Squad is a fun mix of lesser known characters and some completely obscure additions. However, James Gunn considered plenty of other DC villains for the movie. He's now revealed on Twitter a list of 13 other characters that were considered, but ultimately left out as he felt the final selections were the best fits for the story. The list includes Livewire, Punch, Julie, Black Spider, Deathstroke, Man-Bat, Plastique, Chemo, KGB, Solomon Grundy, Rainbow Creature, Gunhawk and Knockout. Gunn isn't ruling out these villains appearing in a sequel either, and the way he keeps on talking about a sequel, it looks like he is going to do a sequel and they're already going to greenlight a sequel. I mean, don't be surprised if you actually hear about a sequel being greenlit before the actual movie's released on August the 6th. His interactions on Twitter have been fantastic with the fans. When I first considered taking the job of writing the Suicide Squad, I kept a file folder of characters I was considering. Here are just a few of many that didn't make the cut for now. Are you able to reveal any villains that almost made the cut for the Suicide Squad? Which he has. Every character in the Suicide Squad was chosen for a purpose, great or small, and although I love many of these other characters, they didn't serve the story quite as well. I mean, Deathstroke and Man-Bat. Man-Bat's got a very emotional story as well. I'm of course open to using them in the future, and there are many more wonderful DC Comics characters where these came from. See the Suicide Squad in theatres next month. Thanks, James, we will be. The most notable characters considered for the Suicide Squad that was left out is Deathstroke. Joe Manganiello was already cast as Deathstroke for Ben Affleck's The Batman, but never got a chance to appear after Justice League's tease. This could have been an opportunity for him to appear as long as Gunn didn't elect to recast the role. KG Beast also appeared in Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice, did he? But this could have been a more comic accurate version of the character. I'm not sure what character he was. None of these other characters have appeared in the DCEU before, but some like Livewire and Plastique appeared in Arrowverse. Plastique actually appeared in Smallville. I can't remember Plastique in the Arrowverse, but obviously maybe they're right and I'm wrong. Now that Gunn has revealed these alternate characters for the Suicide Squad, fans will likely try and figure out how they could have fit into the movie. Solomon Grundy and Chemo could have been alternatives to King Shark, while KGB's Gunhawk and Black Spider could have been considered to replace Blackguard. Bloodsport or Peacemaker, Man-Bat seems like an alternative to Weasel, while Deathstroke also could have been a lead character instead of Bloodsport or Peacemaker. Since Gunn has an interest in bringing these DC villains to life on the big screen, that could happen in a sequel to the Suicide Squad if the movie is as successful as expected, and it will be, and I can't wait to see the finished article. And let's queue up our next article. But let's talk about this. It wouldn't surprise me if in the James Gunn's The Suicide Squad, Joe Manganiello Deathstroke cameos. Why do I think that? Because Joe Manganiello seems very, very confident that something's in the mix, something's going to happen here. And I think a cameo from Deathstroke by Joe Manganiello would, you see, I don't think it would appease the Snyder fans. And I'm going to talk about release the Snyder Cut and the restore the Snyderverse and the differences in the nuances and the lack of nuances from each movement. I don't think these two movements are the same any longer. I think one's pure and one's toxic, and that's my opinion, and we'll talk about that afterwards. But it'd be interesting how the Restore the Snyderverse community would treat a cameo of Joe Manganiello as Deathstroke. I think they would hate it, but it wouldn't really matter, because it would, again, it would throw the tennis ball back at them and say, well, it's over to you. We're using these characters. We haven't deleted the Snyderverse, have we? So that will be a very, very interesting thing to do. And that's my prediction for James Gunn's The Suicide Squad. And it was great for James to like another one of my tweets aimed at him. This time I was talking about how every movie he makes is a party, a celebration of entertainment. He really wants to entertain us. And I think that's such a rarity in entertainment today. Every DC villain the Arrowverse's Superman has already beaten. Ahead of Superman and Lois's, the Arrowverse's Man of Steel has already battled and defeated a few villains from his DC Comics Rogues Gallery by Nicholas Raymond of Screen Rant. Long before appearing on Superman and Lois, the Arrowverse's Man of Steel had already defeated a handful of villains from his extensive rogues gallery. Since the show follows an experienced and seasoned version of Superman, it's not necessarily surprising that some of his biggest foes have already been beaten ahead of his Arrowverse show. Many villains have already appeared in the Arrowverse, but Superman has already beaten a fair number of them. And others. The problem is, most of these defeats for these villains have been off screen, something I can't really celebrate. Played by Tyler Hoechlin, the big blue Boy Scout has been operating as Superman and raising a family with Lois Lane, Elizabeth Tulloch, for more than a decade now. As the father of 2 teenage sons, the Arrowverse's Superman is a good bit older than most live-action versions, considering that he only appeared in a few episodes of Supergirl and 2 Arrowverse crossover events. Not much has been done with Superman pre-Crisis. It's for this reason that a lot of the history that the Arrowverse has established for him didn't play out on screen, as it has with various other Arrowverse-based members of the Justice League, like The Flash, Grant Gustin, Supergirl, Melissa Benoist, and Green Arrow, Stephen Amell. As a result, several of the biggest events that have taken place in his life weren't even shown. Among these are battles he's been involved with with a big name villain from DC Comics. That's unfortunate but unexpected when taking into account the number of threats that have plagued the Earth while heroes like the Flash and Green Arrow were protecting their respective cities. It makes sense that Superman, who has been in the superhero business even longer than them, has had to fight his share of enemies in Metropolis. Here's every Superman villain defeated by the Man of Steel in the Arrowverse. Lex Luthor. One thing that Superman and Lois may not explore is the beginning of his rivalry with Superman's Lex Luthor. Oh, don't worry, next season they'll take a look at that, which was outlined in the backstory given to him in the CW's sister show. The two have a history that goes back to the early years of his superhero career in Metropolis. Apparently, John Crye's Lex Luthor started out as friendly and Crye's Lex Luthor started out as a friend and an ally to Clark. Wow! So it's a bit like the Smallville history. They seemingly shared a common goal when it came to preventing alien invasions, but things eventually got out of hand, with Lex going a bit too far in his efforts. Their relationship turned sour and the two friends became enemies. That's an interesting take. I'd like to see a flashback of that. I think John Cryer has got great quality in everything he does. Let's not forget he played Lex Luthor's nephew Lenny in Superman 4 and did a fine job despite the film being critically bashed and being a flop. I still have a soft place in my heart for that movie. Superman was forced to foil a number of Lex's schemes, including one that involved an earthquake machine. Around the time of Supergirl's first season, Clark finally defeated Lex, revealed his true nature to the public, and succeeded in having him incarcerated for his crimes. The villain has since emerged once again and is currently a part of Supergirl's show. Despite Lex Luthor recently taking a heroic turn, so far there's been no sign of him returning to Superman's orbit. General Zod. Based on what was said in Supergirl, Superman has had at least 2 violent encounters with General Zod, Mark Gibbon, who has been revealed via a hallucination that Clark had in Season 2. Not unlike most versions of Zod's story, the Arrowverse version of the character is an evil Kryptonian general who was imprisoned in the Phantom Zone, presumably by Jor-El, after coming to Earth. He was beaten by Superman during their second fight. He lost his life, but how that happened hasn't been properly explained. Unless Clark was just put in a situation similar to what occurred in the DCEU's Man of Steel, it's unlikely that Clark broke his no-killing rule. Either way, Zod is dead in the Arrowverse, but thanks to Crisis on Infinite Earths, a retcon isn't impossible. This is what I keep on talking about, the multiverse strategy. You can bring anyone back, and that's just totally awesome. Plus, with the multiverse, there's other versions of these characters. It could be that in the post-Crisis Arrowverse, Zod didn't die in their second fight and could be brought onto the show with a new actor portraying him, similar to how the series has handled its Morgan Edge, or he could be retrieved by magical means. But let's be honest, the character played by the actor isn't Morgan Edge, it's a Kryptonian. So he isn't actually the real Morgan Edge. We've met the real Morgan Edge in, pre-Superman and Lois. That can happen since it was stated in Supergirl that the Legion of Superheroes had to battle a resurrected Zod in the future. In fact, Superman and Lois may already have a way for Zod to come back and get revenge on Clark. According to theory presented on the show, spirits of the deceased Kryptonians may be able to possess humans through X-Kryptonite. Doomsday. Doomsday, with the genetically engineered killing machine from Krypton, had a reputation for being the villain who killed Superman in DC Comics. He's been brought to life a few times now in live action, having made appearances in Smallville, Superman v Batman, Dawn of Justice, Superman v Batman, I prefer that title actually, and Krypton, but he has yet to make his Arrowverse debut. However, he is confirmed to exist in its world. Lois listed him in the Crisis on Infinite Earths as one of the threats that Clark faced in the past. What happened between them is left ambiguous, but it's a safe bet that Superman won the Doomsday fight. If he hadn't, the Man of Steel's Arrowverse journey would have ended before his involvement in Crisis. As for his current whereabouts, Doomsday isn't the kind of monster who can be easily restrained or controlled, so there's a strong chance he isn't on a rampage right now. He must not be among the living anymore, or maybe he is. Maxima, one of the worst Arrowverse villains, by the way. In the comic books, Maxima is a queen from a distant planet who came to Earth looking for Superman. It was her belief that only a person of his might was worthy of being her lover. Women say the same thing about me. Believed that only person of his might was worth of being her lover. The Arrowverse didn't show its take on Maxima Eve Torres Gracie going after Clark, but Supergirl has confirmed the fight between them did occur at some point. In a season 1 episode, it was said that Superman refusing her advances made her retaliate against the Earth, thus forcing Clark to take her down. That's why she was imprisoned at the DCEO prior to her encounter with Kara Darkseid. Superman noted during the crisis that fighting the powerful Anti-Monitor, Monica Garrett, was like engaging in 10 rounds with Darkseid. This reference was surprising because Darkseid is arguably the most challenging opponent Superman has ever had to fight in the comics. He certainly has the feel of a villain who could work as an endgame for Superman's story or the Arrowverse in general, but instead it looks like he was defeated long ago. A story with Superman teaming up with other Arrowverse heroes to beat the evil tyrant of Apocalypse would have been fun to see for sure. What would have added to that enthusiasm would be the notion that the DCEU didn't get to conclude its Darkseid arc with a proper Justice League battle. Unfortunately, the Arrowverse may not get that opportunity either. Right, the Arrowverse characters could have that opportunity via the central multiverse strategy. That would be really exciting, and this is an awesome article. Yeah, it's great to see, it really is great to see the kind of villains that Tyler Hoechlin's Superman has already battled. It's just a shame we haven't seen them because they set up this pre-existing Superman on another Earth. We haven't seen them, but there's always flashbacks. You can do whole seasons of going back in the past, which is another interesting scope for the Superman and Lois show. Helen Mirren praises Shazam 2 co-star Zachary Levi. Helen Mirren enjoys working with Zachary Levi for Shazam Fury of the Gods. She says that he's a brilliant actor and she enjoys watching his scenes. By Saeed Fadali Husani from Screen Rant. Helen Mirren praises her Shazam Fury of the Gods co-star Zachary Levi. Director David F. Sandberg's light-hearted and entertaining Shazam proved to be a moderate success at the box office, grossing a worldwide total of $366 million. That's nearly 2 or 3 times its budget though, so it was a big hit. Against a budget of 80 to 100 million exactly, the 2019 movie chronicled the adventures of the comics character Billy Batson, an orphan teenager whose interaction with an ancient wizard's staff leads him to acquire the ability to transform into an adult superhero, Zachary Levi. Billy subsequently passes his powers among his foster siblings, who then help him in his high-stakes mission, defeating the cunning Dr. Thaddeus Sivana and the 7 Deadly Sins. Following the positive reception of Shazam, Warner Brothers and New Line Cinema were quick to put a sequel in development, which is due to arrive in June 2023. Although a full 2 years away, Shazam 2 has already actively started production. With the movie currently filming, new information keeps coming out from the set, offering fans sneak peek at what's in store for the sequel plot. Recently, the upgraded costumes of all the film's superheroes were unveiled alongside some new additions to the cast. The most prominent of them all is a prime suspect actress Helen Mirren, who has been brought in to play Hespera, one of the film's 3 main villainess daughters of the Greek god Atlas. Recently, Shazam 2 set photos revealed a look at Mirren's Hespera costume alongside photos of her filming with Levi. Now, Mirren has opened up about her experience working on the film, detailing chemistry she shares with her co-star. In a conversation with industry insider the DC Syndicate, Helen Mirren described what it's like to work with Zachary Levi for Shazam 2. The veteran actress was full of praise for her co-star, saying that Levi is amazing at his job. She said, "It's a real pleasure to be working with the actor and to watch him nail all his scenes so brilliantly." Mirren added that as she tries to embody her role as the goddess Hespera, she often looks at Levi and marvels at his fantastic acting skills. Read what Mirren said below. Zachary Levi, who plays Shazam, is so good. It's just such a pleasure to sit opposite him, watch him work. I just sit there trying to be a goddess, but really inside I'm thinking, oh my God, he's brilliant, which he is. Doesn't it make a change that we hear about a woman bigging up a man, a male actor, instead of hearing how strong women are? And look, strong women are awesome, and it's great for male actors to big up their female co-stars. But it's great to hear a woman not doing a man down, and that's great. Mirren's praise for Levi only furthers the hype around Shazam 2, which is already shaping up to be an exciting project. Shazam 2 has been teased as having more action than the first, with the humour and twist also expected to be in line with the first film's heartfelt journey. There is also the very talented cast, which besides Mirren and the original stars includes Lucy Liu as the second evil sister Calypso and Rachel Ziegler as possibly the third and younger sister. Well, while there are some things that may displease audiences, including the fact that the movie is happening so long after the first film, now it's not a big deal that the original villain, played by Mark Strong, is not returning to reprise his role. Sandberg is making earnest efforts to compensate for those problems. It's a bit odd with Dr. Sivana seeing the post-credit scene that we saw. Mirren's admiration for Levi certainly bodes well for the new film. It not only promises unique and enjoyable chemistry between the protagonist and antagonist, but also indicates what production is going smoothly. That production is going smoothly. Of course, Mirren's remarks are also a huge compliment for Levi and his portrayal of Shazam, as it's no small feat to be in the good graces of a star who holds the triple crown of acting in both the US and the UK. Hopefully this mutual respect between the performers and their impressive skills will play out well for Shazam! Fury of the Gods, helping it cement its place as another successful entry in the DCEU. I think so. I think we're going down a great direction, and to hear Mirren talking so positively about Zachary is brilliant. You know, she is a positive soul. She's a legend and an icon. If she said that about my acting skills, I'd be walking on water for the rest of my life, right? So that's brilliant. And here's the final article for today. How the Flash's speedster battles highlight the show's true potential. Now, disclaimer, The Flash has taken a bashing by critics and fans this year. I don't watch it anymore. I've just purchased seasons 1 and 2 because they're the best Flash live action stuff you will ever see. But it's just a shame what they've done to Grant's character and the show, really. But let's give this a read. The Flash Season 7 Episode 15 Speedster Battle served as an exciting action sequence that proves how great the show's action can be by Nicholas Raymond of Screen Rant. The Speedster Battle in The Flash's latest episode proves that the Arrowverse series has a ton of untapped potential when it comes to action. All season, Barry's approach to fighting has been one of the show's biggest problems. One of the most common complaints about The Flash Season 7 pertains to its fights or lack thereof. The season has a few hand-to-hand combat sequences with characters like Killer Frost, Daniel Pan Baker, but how the Flash has handled its main protagonist has left a lot to be desired. Barry being the fastest man alive, yet somehow not fast enough to defeat his metahuman opponents, has been an unfortunate trend in the current season that has forced Barry to rely more and more on appealing to his enemies' emotions rather than actually beating them in combat. For this reason, many feel that Barry's speed hasn't made the impact that it should have. Listen, now and again, it's great for Barry to say, you know, a bit like the Sandman Spider-Man thing in Spider-Man 3, appeal to their better nature and for the hero to forgive the villain. That's great, but you can't do that every fucking week. That's just stupid, isn't it? The Flash Season 7 Episode 15, titled Enemy at the Gates, took big steps towards finally fixing the issue. When the Godspeed clones stormed Star Labs, an exciting battle between Barry and the white-clad speedsters ensued. Instead of simply fighting back by throwing lightning, as he tends to, Barry engaged Godspeed directly by bombarding the villain with a flurry of super-fast punches, followed by the two zipping around the room, knocking each other off their feet with some hard-hitting blows. The special effects used during all the dodging and punching that was going on during these scenes made for a fun action sequence and one of the most intense fights the series has presented in a long time. Episode 15 also went a long way in highlighting the potential that a live-action speedster battle can offer. A character with as much speed as Barry lends the series to all sorts of visual opportunities that the Arrowverse show doesn't always take advantage of. Obviously, budgetary constraints are a problem. If you think about it, you know, this is a TV show, not a movie. possibly because of budget issues. Regardless, the Flash vs Godspeed showdown was proof of how thrilling the action can be when the show really lets Barry loose. Lately, there's been a feeling that the Flash is holding Barry back too often and too quickly this season. Barry has resigned himself to finding ways to win that don't involve the use of his speedster powers. They've been treated as inadequate for several of the battles they've faced in Season 7, and given how powerful Barry is, that shouldn't be the case. The way Barry attacked Godspeed at Star Labs is how the character deserves to be used, and this style of action doesn't have to be reserved for fights with villains who match his speed. It's hard to imagine Barry losing it against non-speedsters if he were to fight with this much intensity in his other battles. Hopefully episode 15 was a sign of things to come, because this is the kind of action that the Flash needs going forward. Yeah, this show was so good, and they've dumbed it down and they watered it down. We're going to get a Speed Force. We're going to get, Iris is going to, Barry's wife is going to have Speed Force powers again. Yeah, I won't be watching that. But anyway, for you Flash fans, you may be looking forward to that, and that's cool. And that's all our articles for Sunday's edition of the Movies TV Mad Daily. Now, the Release the Snyder Cut community were a pure community who came out of the shadows after Justice League. Finally, we came out and said, enough's enough. You're putting down the movies we love. We love these movies. They're not bad movies. We want to see Zack's vision. We were posting gifs all day. We were being positive. You know, there was some toxicity and negativity, but I'd say about 5 or 10%. I think we were pure people. And I think what's happened with the Restore the Snyderverse community, I see them every day doing things, putting down what people love. And someone, a member of the community, said, well, Mick, that's a good thing. This, we have to get our hands dirty. I don't feel that talking about raising Christopher Reeve from his grave and saying some people want that is respectful or needs to be done. I don't think taking a picture of Weasel from James Gunn's The Suicide Squad and saying, look how bad, look how low we've sunk when we had these films, when we had Zack Snyder's Justice League Snyder Cut earlier this year, is a way to get Zack back in. And I just think it's so bad what's become. I just don't even believe it's the same fandom. I think most of the Release the Snyder Cut community, the good ones, have left now, have had enough, and I think they've seen some of Zack's conduct as well, and Ray Fisher's conduct, and said, you know what, this is no longer for us. Some people holding hopes when David Zaslav and Discovery become Warner Discovery, things can change. People talking about cleaning house. We will see what happens. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if they will clean house or they'll keep the people they've already got. That's the reason Warner Brothers Pictures are rushing out to, greenlight projects, make these movies so hopefully they can make some money and these people can keep their jobs. Whether that's a thing or not, we'll have to wait and see. That's it for today's edition of the Movies TV Mad Daily. Remember, you can follow me on Twitter at Movies TV Mad, Instagram and TikTok at Movies TV Mad 555, and I'll see you on the next video. Until then, I hope you enjoyed the show. See you again soon.